Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Guru Vaishnavanscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Savana Raghunatanitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Gagana Lalita Sri Vishakhamita Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, and welcome to the Saturday morning reading and discussion of the Bhagavad-gītā As It Is from the original 1972 Macmillan version. This is a very important part of our mission at HKS PDA to preserve the original teachings of Srila Prabhupada without change. And this is a system that we follow because a lot of people, especially in America, have what Prabhupada called the change disease. It's a disease. It's like coming late for class. You come late for class, people show up later, that's okay. But when you go to a doctor's appointment, what time do you show up? you show up on time. You go to a lawyer's appointment, you show up at time. Why? Because if you don't, they cancel your appointment. You're not in time, go away. So people should be more conscious of showing up on time. Anyway, that's another thing. And I wanted to say this today. We have a lot to talk about. This is a special day with Balaram's celebration today. I'm going to read from the Krishna book some very interesting points that he makes to all of us as he explains the philosophy of Krishna consciousness through the lotus mouth of Srila Prabhupada. Oh, yes. So we're going to be adding, at the end of the program today, another lecture from Srila Prabhupada. So we have 2 sections in the program now, and we're going to add a third one at the end. Now, if you want to stay on, feel free to. You know, some of the devotees like to stay on because it's a good use of time, and they're using their time to learn. And it's not a lot of time if you think about it. Say if you come to our program and you spend 2.5 hours with us. Well, how much is that, Rochisha Devi Dasi, in terms of the week? Well, it's 168 hours in the week. 168 hours. So if somehow or other you attend 3 classes a week and the classes are 3 hours long, Veronica, Bhakti and Veronica, that is 9 hours out of 168. That means you have 159 hours to do what you want. Is that a long time? No. Not in relation to 168 hours. Now you have to divide it down into different sections of what you do, how you take care of yourself. If you have a job, that's going to take a lot of time out of your week. And that's what happens with people that a lot of people that are grihasta, they have to, and I've been through that journey, you have to spend a lot of time maintaining yourself and your family. That's a demand. So you can't say, oh, don't do that. You have to. So we're adding these lectures on to help people that have time use it effectively in their journey in time to go back home, back to Godhead. 1. 2, the questions that people have. We've decided, our group, that if you want to ask a question, you can put it in the chat. Just put it in the chat during the program, because our program is changing. It's not the same as it was 6 months ago. It's more information about Prabhupada and Krishna. Yes. That's the idea. We're expanding. We're not diminishing. Our program has been evolving over the last 3 years, and we keep to evolve. We're doing a new opening and closing slide, update everything. And I want to thank Shreya Dasi, who is helping us do that. She is an internet technologist. She has a master's in business administration, and she works for many big companies, and she's devoting her time to helping us. So that's the next thing that's going on. And we're very appreciative of that she is taking the time. The other day, she spent 3 hours with me on editing the slides. We were going forensically through every word, because words mean everything, and analyzing and working together as a God brother and God sister online. And we hope that this will help to promote the expansion of our classes worldwide. Yes, because it's important for people to have the truth, because there is so much, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, mistruth. Oh yes, there is. And the situation was brought up today in a post on my on my Facebook page where someone said that I was blasphemous because I promote a dead Diksha Guru. Dead Diksha Guru. That's his philosophy. That Prabhupada is dead, and therefore you're promoting something which is an untruth. There is no such thing as a guru who is not here that can initiate anyone. That's their point. Okay. Well, that's philosophically blasphemous. And we know all the quotes and we'll discuss them in the class. But the fact of the matter is that we're in a dispute. Yes, we are. A very big dispute. And is it a war dispute? No. It's a philosophical dispute. Like, even in politics, they're in dispute. Oh, we're right, you're wrong, we're right. That's a dispute, and that's a discussion, that's a debate. You don't hurt people because you don't agree with them, although that goes on. Our one God brother in San Diego, or Sacramento, he went to the program and one of my God brothers, I can't remember his name, beat him up. That was just a few months ago. And we know all the history of ISKCON, how much violence there is. Radharani was beat up in New Vrindavan. Sulochan was murdered in LA. We have direct evidence of that. So it's a dispute, but it's a philosophical dispute. It's not a physical dispute where you kill people or threaten them. That is absolutely demoniac for people to do this. And this has been going on for a long time. So this is unfortunate, very unfortunate. And it's all over this, as I said, Nilesh, the dead Diksha Guru philosophy, that Prabhupada is dead, therefore you can't be initiated by him because he doesn't live anymore. Anyway, we'll talk about it in the program. So those are the opening statements. We're going to go to the next section. I've been reading the Krishna book, as all of you know, and last night I was thinking, gee, I read a wonderful section from the Krishna book of Balaram preaching to everyone in the chapter, Krishna Defeats All the Princes. I thought, now this would be an appropriate day to us to review this detailed philosophical explanation of the truth without change. There's no change. People, and a lot of people, they criticize Yaśodā, myself, and other members of our organization that preach because of that principle. They criticize that we're presenting Prabhupada without change, and they blame us. Hey, how come you brought that up? How come you're reading this? Well, does it make sense? Does it make sense? No, these people are crazy. They're insane. And we're going to read, we'll start in. So this is from Krishna Defeats All the Princes. Now it's quite a length, Nilesh, it's quite a lengthy philosophical explanation. But after reviewing it this morning over and over again, I thought, gee, we have to try to absorb this because it's coming directly from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. After this, in order to pacify her, Lord Balaram said to Rukmini, "You should not be sorry because your brother has been made very odd looking." Your brother has been made very odd looking. Everyone suffers or enjoys the results of his own activities. Lord Balaram wanted to impress upon Rukmini that she should not have been sorry for the consequences suffered by her brother due to his actions. Now, we're in a war too with our God brothers. Yes, we are. And I wanted to show you a picture. So this was said by Balaram to all of us. I wanted to show you a picture of two of my God brothers, our God brothers, and how they're suffering the consequences of their actions. Rupa Goswami, could you show that? Look at that. Lord Balaram wanted to impress upon Rukmini that she should not have been sorry for the consequences suffered by her god brothers due to his actions. You see that? Now someone could say, well, why would you put that up on the screen? Well, by the way, I didn't take the picture. I received the picture. The pictures are all over the internet, and they're taken by the disciples of these particular bogus gurus. And at the same time, it shows, look at the circumstances that were just explained here in this particular explanation by Balaram to all of us through Srila Prabhupada. Don't try to make up things that this isn't real. It's real. There's the picture. The picture tells 1,000, Rochisha Devi Das, 1,000 words. There was no need of being too affectionate towards such a brother. Lord Balaram again turned toward Krishna and said, "My dear Krishna, a relative, even though he commits such a blunder and deserves to be killed, should be excused." Okay. For such a relative is conscious of his own fault. That consciousness is itself like death. It is. They're hiding in these mistruths. They can pretend to be guru, but they're hiding in a mistruth. Therefore, there is no need in killing him, not physically. Philosophically, yes, he again turned towards Rukmini and informed her that the current duty of the Kshatriya in the human society is so fixed that according to the principles of fighting, one's own brother may become an enemy on the opposite side. And that is the reality between people that say that Prabhupada is a dead Diksha guru. A Kshatriya should not hesitate to kill his own brother, not physically, but philosophically. And we have an expert here, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, that does it quite perfectly. In other words, Lord Balaram wanted to instruct Rukmini that Rukmi and Krishna were right in not showing mercy to each other in fighting, despite the family consideration that they happen to be brothers-in-law. Srila Prabhupada, we're brothers, all God brothers and God sisters. Srila Balaram continued to inform Rukmini that a Kshatriya are typical emblems of the materialistic way of life, and they become puffed up whenever there's a position of material acquisition. Therefore, when there is a fight between two belligerent Kshatriyas on account of kingdom, land, wealth, women, prestige, or power, they try to put one another into the most abominable conditions. Balaram instructed Rukmini that her affection toward her brother Rukmi, who had created enmity with so many persons, was a perverse consideration befitting an ordinary materialistic person. Her brother's character was not at all adorable, considering his treatment toward other friends, and yet Rukmini, as an ordinary woman, was so affectionate toward him, he was not fit to be her brother, and still Rukmini was lenient toward him. Besides that, Balaram continued, the consideration that a person is neutral or is one's friend or enemy is generally made by persons who are on the bodily concept of life. Yes. Such foolish persons become bewildered by the illusory energy of the Supreme Lord. The spirit soul is the same pure quality in any embodiment of matter, but those who are not sufficiently intelligent see only the bodily differentiations of animals and men, literates and illiterates, rich and poor, and so on, which cover the pure spirit soul. Such differentiation, observed purely on the basis of the body, is actually like differentiation between fires in terms of the different types of fuel they consume. Whatever the size and shape of the fuel, there is no such variety of size and shape of the fire which comes out. Similarly, in the sky, there are no differences in size or shape. In this way, Balaram, and it's a great day to hear from him, isn't it? Rochisha Devi Dasi. By his moral and ethical instructions, he stated further. Now listen to this, how detailed this is. This is not me speaking. This is Prabhupada and Balaram speaking to all of us. This body is part of the material manifestation. The living entity or spirit soul being in contact with matter is transmigrating due to illusory energy from one body to another, and that is known as material existence. This contact of the living entity with the material manifestation has neither integration or disintegration. My dear chaste sister-in-law, the spirit soul is, of course, the cause of the material body, as much as the sun is the cause of sunlight, eyesight, and the forms of material manifestation. The example of the sunshine and the material manifestation is very appropriate in the matter of understanding the living entity's contact with this material world. In the morning, there is sunshine, and the heat and light expand gradually throughout the whole day. The sun is the cause of the material production and shapes and forms. It is due to the sun that the integration and disintegration of material elements takes place. But as soon as the sun is set, the whole manifestation is no longer connected to the sun, which has passed from one place to another. When the sun passes from the east to the western hemisphere, the result of interaction due to the sunshine in the eastern hemisphere remains, but the sunshine itself is visible again on the western hemisphere. Similarly, the living entity, which is you, me, and all of us here in this material body, accepts or produces different bodies and different bodily relationships in a particular circumstance. But as soon as he gives up this present body and accepts another, he has nothing to do with the former body. Nothing. And I saw that very recently with the passing of Gopal in Mexico. Finished. And it rings in my mind when I read this because I experienced it directly. Similarly, the living entity has nothing to do with the next body which he accepts. He is the living entity. He is always free from the contact of this bodily contamination. Therefore, the conclusion is that the appearance and disappearance of the body have nothing to do with the living entity, as much as the waxing and waning of the moon have nothing to do with the moon. When there is waxing of the moon, we falsely think that the moon is developing, and when there is, waning of the moon, we think that the moon is decreasing. Factually, the moon, as it is always the same. It has nothing to do with such visible waxing and waning activities. Consciousness of material existence can be compared to sleeping and dreaming. When a man sleeps, he dreams of many non-factual happenings. And as a result of dreaming, he becomes subjected to the different kinds of distress and happiness. Similarly, when a person is in the dreaming condition of material consciousness, he suffers the effects of accepting a body and giving it up again in material existence. Opposite to the material consciousness is Krishna consciousness. In other words, when a man is elevated to the platform of Krishna consciousness, he becomes free from the false conceptions of life. In this way, Sri Balaram instructed them in spiritual knowledge. He addressed his sister-in-law thus, "Sweet smiling Rukmini, do not be aggrieved by false motives caused by ignorance. Due to false notions, only one becomes unhappy. But this unhappiness is immediately removed by discussing the philosophy of actual life. Be happy on that platform only." After hearing such enlightening instructions from Sri Balaram, Rukmini immediately became pacified and happy and adjusted her mental condition, which was very much afflicted by seeing the degraded position of her brother Rukmi. How was that? Was that good, Rajeshi Devi Dasi? I know she loves the Krishna book and are reading this new section of our presentations. So lots to think about, everyone. If you want to go to the Krishna book, it's the Krishna Defeats All the Princes, chapter 53. And you can read it over and over again on this beautiful day where we're celebrating Lord Balaram. And it was very appropriate for us to read from this and become pacified in the difficult circumstances that we are all currently in. Yes. Recently I saw, just finishing up, a video this morning of Mukunda. Mukunda was a devotee in the early 60s, Michael Grant. And he was being interviewed by some brahmacharini somewhere, I don't know. And she asked him, "Well, how's your life now that you're older? How do you feel now that you're older? You were younger, now you've become old." And he said, "Well, things are not too bad now." Now remember, he's a sannyasi. He goes, this is his answer, it's not mine. He says, "Well, now I have a car and a house." Oh, now you have a car and a house. "And I have somebody that does my laundry for me. So I'm not worried like I used to be when I was in the early days. I had to pay all my bills." I thought, gee, very profound statement. So this war is going on, and people are presenting themselves as so-called Uttama-Adhikaris because of their affiliation with Prabhupada. But real Uttama-Adhikari is a person that is Krishna conscious and always speaks in a Krishna conscious manner, not, "Oh, I've got a car and a house now." That's ridiculous. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. We'll move ahead with our next section, Rupa Goswami. And by the way, any questions, you can put them in the chat and we'll answer them as we go along, because we're increasing the amount of Prabhupada Katha in our programs. Hare Krishna. So Rupa Goswami, is it the lecture? I believe it is. Prabhupada's going to speak to us now. Further. There we go.
Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Padakamalam
must, that activity must be tested to see if where Krishna is pleased. But what is the test?
If the spiritual master is pleased, then Krishna is pleased. That you are singing daily, Jasya Prasadad Bhagavat Prasada, Jasya Prasadad Nagasi. If the spiritual master is pleased, then Krishna is pleased. That is the test. If he is not pleased, then he has no other way. That is very simple to understand. Suppose anyone is working in the office, the immediate boss is the head clerk or the superintendent of that department. So everyone is working. If he satisfies the superintendent or the head clerk, then it is still understood that he has satisfied my individual. That is not very difficult. Your immediate boss, representative of Krishna, he is to be satisfied. Jasya Prasada Bhagavat Prasada. Jasya, therefore the guidance of spiritual master is required. Krishna comes in the form of spiritual master to guide. That is stated in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Guru Krishna Kripa. Guru Krishna Kripa. The Guru Kripa, mercy of Guru, is mercy of Krishna. So when both of them are satisfied, then our path is clear. Guru Krishna Kripa Paya Bhakti Lokanti. Then our devotional service is perfect. So you did not mark this statement in the Gurvashta. Jasya Prasada Bhagavat Prasada. Jasya Prasada Bhagati. Just like this movement was started only for the satisfaction of my spiritual. He wanted, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted that this movement should be spread all over the world. So he ordered many of my God brothers, and desired, he did not order, he wanted. He sent some of my God brothers to the foreign country to spread that some other was not very successful, he was called back. So I thought, let me try in this old age. So the only desire was to satisfy the desire of the spiritual master. So he has helped, now it is coming to be successful. So this is just a prasada. If we actually sincerely work under the direction of the spiritual master, that is satisfaction of Krishna. And Krishna is anything.
If we can please the spiritual master, and this is possible by the distribution of the Delhi Bhagavatams, which we as a group have now printed and making available to the entire world. It's a small number of Bhagavatams, it's 2,000 sets, but at least they're there, and anyone that takes up this mission to help us, they will get the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, because the truth of Krishna consciousness is found very, very beautifully in this Delhi Bhagavatam version that we printed. And you should judge an action by its results. And these results will be shared by all of the members of our group that participate. So please get a hold of me if you're interested in figuring out how to do this. And in this way, you know for sure that you're pleasing Srila Prabhupada with this book distribution. And just finally, it's not just about selling books. It's about cultivating people and getting them to get a set of these wonderful books and have them read them. And in this way, they'll make advancement on the path back home, back to Godhead. So it's a hard job. English. To get one good person to take this up, it's very hard. I know because I struggle with it all the time, trying to get good people to take it up and enjoy what we're reading ourselves every day by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada in his Vani incarnation. Now we're going to move forward with our next section, which is the reading and discussion led by Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu of the Bhagavad-gītā As It Is, unchanged, unadulterated, and unedited. And this is the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Haribol.
Sign. Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnavavrinda ki jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai, Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivas Adi Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gaur Gopinath Sam Kund Radha Kund Giridharadhan ki jai, Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Navadvip Dham ki jai, Swami Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Ganga Mai ki jai, Jamuna Mai ki jai, Tulasi Devi ki jai, Bhakti Devi ki jai, Swami Bhaktivinoda ki jai. All glories to the assembled Lord. All glories to the assembled Lord. Thank you very much.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord, Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. From Srimad Bhagavatam 1:1:1. Narayanam namaskritya Narayanam namaskritya Naram chaiva narottamam Devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayet. One should utter the means of conquest, Srimad Bhagavatam, after offering respectful obeisances, 1, to the personality of Godhead, Narayana, 2, to the Narayana Rishi, who is the supermost human being, 3, to the mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, then 4, to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. From Srimad Bhagavatam 1-4. Welcome everyone to this reading and discussion, also sometimes called a class, on the subject of Srimad Bhagavad-gītā. This reading is being conducted on the basis of the original, unedited, non-adulterated 1972 Macmillan edition, and all translations, synonyms, and purports are from His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda, Founder-Ācārya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, also known as the Krishna Consciousness Movement. As we do every week, we will be reciting a few Sanskrit verses which were introduced by Srila Prabhupada himself early on in 1966 when he started to lecture on the Bhagavad-gītā in New York, USA. Om Ajnanatimmirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Shugurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Sri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Svapadantikam. When will Sri Rupa Goswami Prabhupada was established within this material world the mission to fulfill the desire of Lord Chaitanya, give me shelter under his lotus feet. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahaguna Raghunathan Anvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahaguna Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master and unto the feet of all Vaishnavas. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of Srila Rupa Goswami, along with his elder brother Sanatana Goswami, as well as Raghunath Dasa and Raghunath Bhatta, Gopala Bhatta, and Srila Jiva Goswami. I offer my respectful obeisances to Lord Krishna Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, along with Advaita Acharya, Gadadhar, Srivas, and other associates. I offer my respectful obeisances to Srimati Radharani and Sri Krishna, along with their associates Sri Lalita and Vishaka. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. Oh, my dear Krishna, you are the friend of the distressed and the source of creation. You are the master of the gopis and the lover of Radharani. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Tapta Kanchana Ghorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. I offer my respects to Radharani, whose bodily complexion is like molten gold, and who is the queen of Vrindavana. You are the daughter of King Vrishabhanu, and you are very dear to Lord Krishna. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namaham. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and who are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. We will proceed with our verse. We are reading from Bhagavad-gītā As It Is, chapter 13, text number 28. Samam sarveshu bhuteshu tishtantam parameshwaram vinashyatva vinashyantam yapashyati sapashyati. Samam, equally, sarveshu, in all, bhuteshu, living entities, tishtantam, residing, parameshwaram, the Supersoul, vinashyatsu, indestructible, avinashyantam, not destroyed, ya, anyone, pashyati, see, sa, he, pashyati, actually sees. Translations by Srila Prabhupada. One who sees the Supersoul accompanying the individual soul in all bodies, and who understands that neither the soul nor the Supersoul is ever destroyed, actually sees. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Anyone who can see three things, the body, the proprietor of the body or individual soul, and the friend of the individual soul, combined together by good association, is actually in knowledge. Those who are not associated with the soul's friend are ignorant. They simply see the body, and when the body is destroyed, they think that everything is finished. But actually, it is not so. After the destruction of the body, both the soul and the Supersoul exist. and they go on eternally in many various moving and unmoving forms. The Sanskrit word Parameshwaram is sometimes translated as the individual soul, because the soul is the master of the body, and after the destruction of the body, he transfers to another form. In that way, he is master. But there are others who interpret this Parameshwaram to be Supersoul. In either case, both the Supersoul and the individual soul continue. They are not destroyed. One who can see in this way can actually see what is happening. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuran Meritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Bhakti Siddhanta Shishyaya Bhaktivedanta Namine Prasannaya Prashantaya Tasmai Shugurave Namaha. Bhagavad-vandana Kadyam Guru Vandana Purvakam Kshiram Sharkara Yuktam Kadatehi Visheshata Adadana Strinam Danteridam Yache Punaha Punaha Srimad Rupa Padam Bhoja Dulisyam Janma Janmani Amsho Bhagavatosmyaham Sadadaso Asmi Sarvata Tat Kripa Pekshago Nityam Tat Prishta Shat Karomishvam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We see in this particular text of Bhagavad-gītā that Lord Krishna is again elaborating on the basic fundamental theme of the Bhagavad-gītā, that the living entities are not this material body. They are eternal spirit soul. This is nicely explained in the Vedic language, Aham Brahmasmi. In the Shvetashvatara Upanishad, there's a nice description, Dva Suparana Sakaya Sayujya, that there is a tree and there are two birds on the tree. One of the birds is enjoying the fruits of the tree and the other bird is watching. This is an example given to explain the individual soul and the super soul. It is not very complicated. The individual soul is eating the fruits of the tree, sometimes enjoying happiness, sometimes suffering distress. And the super soul is the friendly bird also on the tree, watching the activities of the individual soul. This is not difficult to comprehend, but under the influence of Maya or illusion, people become bewildered and confused about what is the real function of the individual soul. Because under the influence of the three modes of material nature, one forgets what he's supposed to do, what is the real function of the individual soul. It should be noted that there's many practitioners on different paths of spiritual life. Bhagavad-gītā mentions karma yoga, jnana yoga, buddhi yoga, sankhya yoga, so many different kinds of yoga, different paths. But the ultimate yoga is described by Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad-gītā. Oh, very nice. Thank you for that, Neil Sharma Prabhu. This is from Bhagavad-gītā, chapter 2, text 22. Srila Prabhupada explains, the jiva soul is struggling very hard on the tree of the material body, but as soon as he agrees to accept the other bird as the supreme spiritual master, as Arjuna agreed to do by voluntary surrender unto Krishna for instruction, the subordinate bird immediately becomes free from all lamentations. Both the Mundaka Upanishad 3.1.2 and Shvetashvatara Upanishad 4.7 confirms this. Samani vrikshe purusho nimagno nishaya sochati muhyamana jushtam yadapasyati anyam misham asya mahimanam iti vitashokaha. Although the two birds are in the same tree, the eating bird is fully engrossed with anxiety and moroseness as the enjoyer of the fruits of the tree. But it's in some way, if he turns his face to his friend who is the Lord and knows his glories, at once the suffering bird becomes free from all anxieties. Arjuna has now turned his face toward his eternal friend, Krishna, and is understanding the Bhagavad-gītā from him. And thus, hearing from Krishna, he can understand the supreme glories of the Lord and be free from lamentation. Arjuna is advised herewith by the Lord not to lament for the bodily change of his old grandfather and his teacher. He should rather be happy to kill their bodies in the righteous fight, so that they may be cleansed at once of all reactions from various bodily activities. One who lays down his life on the sacrificial altar or in the proper battlefield is at once cleansed of bodily reactions and promoted to a higher status of life. So there was no cause for Arjuna's lamentations. Why is this important? Because the result of understanding our eternal position as servant of Krishna is the cleansing of the miseries and anxieties in this world. We've often discussed how in this material world, everybody is subjected to three different kinds of miseries. Adhyatmika klesha. Klesha in Sanskrit means miseries. Adhyatmika means miseries due to our body. Adibhautika klesha means miseries due to other living entities. And adidaivika klesha means miseries due to higher living beings, the demigods, material nature. Recently, there was a big earthquake in Russia, in the Kamchatka Peninsula in eastern Russia, 8.8 on the Richter scale. That is very high, very high. And there was a lot of devastation, a lot of problems. Can anybody stop the earthquake? Can anybody say, okay, I'll prevent the next earthquake? Nope. Just like where our good friend, Madame Rochisa, is living in Quebec. In the winter, there can be very severe snowstorm. Can Madame Rochisa decide someday, no snowstorm next winter? I don't want the snow next winter. Nope, she cannot stop it. Here in California, they have a lot of fire, wildfires in the forest. Can somebody say, this year, no more wildfires? Not possible. Because these miseries are influenced by material nature. Same thing with miseries due to other living entities. As long as you have a material body, there will be problems caused by different living entities. Oh, beautiful. We have the nice text here. Where is this from? Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 15, Text 25. Thank you, Prabhu. Ayam hi dehino deho davriyajnana kriyatmakaha dehinu vividat klesha santapa kridudaritaha. Prabhupada translated, the living entity and the bodily conception of life is absorbed in the body which is a combination of the physical elements, the five senses for gathering knowledge, and the five senses of action, along with the mind. Through the mind, the living entity suffers three kinds of tribulations: adibhautika, adidaivika, and adhyatmika. Therefore, this body is a source of all miseries. Purport. In the 5th canto, Srimad Bhagavatam 5.5.4, while instructing his sons, Rishabdev said, Asanapi klesha asadehaha, kleshada asadehaha. The body, although temporary, is the cause of all the miseries of material existence. As already discussed in the previous verse, the entire material creation is based on mental concoction. The mind sometimes induces us to think that if we purchase an automobile, we can enjoy the physical elements such as earth, water, air, and fire, combined in forms of iron, plastic, petrol, and so on. Working with the five material elements, panchabhutas, as well as with our five knowledge-gathering senses like the eyes, ears, and tongue, and our five active senses like the hands and legs, we become involved in the material condition. Thus, we are subjected to the tribulations known as adhyatmika, adidaivika, and adibhautika. The mind is the center because the mind creates all these things. As soon as the material object is struck, however, the mind is affected and we suffer. For example, with the material elements, the working senses and the knowledge-gathering senses, we create a very nice car. And when the car is accidentally smashed in a collision, the mind suffers. And through the mind, the living entity suffers. So the point of this is to understand our position. It is a very precarious position in this world. We just heard by Vishwakarma Prabhu from the Krishna book, in the story of Lord Balaram and the story of King Muchukunda. There are so many beautiful explanations of the temporariness of the material world and explaining what is our real position. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, this is also explained nicely. How the living entity, Krishna Nityadas, Nityar Krishna Das, that our position is to be eternal servant of Krishna. But we have forgotten. We have forgotten. Therefore, why do the great acharyas and prophets and great saints come? To remind us, this is not our permanent place. This is a place of suffering. Therefore, they insist, engage yourself in glorifying the Lord. Here we go. Jiveswarapain Krishner Nityadas, Krishner Tatata Shakti Veda Veda Prakash, Suryam Shakiran Yaiche Agnijvala Choi, Swabhavika Krishner Tina Prakar Shakti Hoy. And the explanation is given. It is the living entity's constitutional position to be an eternal servant of Krishna, because he is the marginal energy of Krishna and a manifestation simultaneously one with and different from the Lord, like a molecular particle of sunshine or fire. Krishna has three varieties of energy. Now, this brings us back to this particular verse that we're reading in Bhagavad-gītā, where Krishna is explaining the position of the living entity and the Supersoul, and this body, and the knower of the body. This is very important because there's a class of philosophers, the Advaitins or Mayavadis, who present that you are one with God, but you're just covered by ignorance, and once you remove the ignorance, you again become one with God. This is nonsense. A few classes ago, Vishwakarma quoted from the Katha Upanishad, Nitya Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam Eko Bahunam Yuvidadhati Kaman. That means this establishes the eternal subordinate position of the living entity as a servitor of Krishna. Now, how do the Mayavadis deal with this? This is very similar to what we see in our society. not HKS, but the ISKCON Society. The Mayavadis have divided the interpretation of the Vedas, all these different texts called Saguna Sriti that describes Krishna as supreme, Tameshwaranam, Paramameshwaram, Nityam Nityanam. There's so many different texts in the Upanishads that clearly explains the difference between the living entity and God and the Supreme Brahman. They say that these particular texts are Vyavaharika Shruti. These are just regular Shrutis. But the superior Shruti, the Paramartika Shruti, these are the texts that describe the impersonal Brahman. Tattvamasi, Soham, Brahmasat, describing the impersonal Brahman, basically. But you will not find this characterization anywhere in the Vedas. This is an invention. This is a new interpretation to try to justify their position. Similarly, in our society, we'll say, well, Prabhupada says so many things. But then the ultimate reality is that the managers are the final conclusion. Oh, really? That the managers of the GBC are higher than Prabhupada? Is that why they classify him as a worker for hire? This is a Mayavadi interpretation of trying to divide different statements that are convenient for their philosophy called misinterpretation to justify their philosophy, just like in our society. You will present so many evidence on so many different points and they will concoct so many interpretations. Just today, I got an email from somebody. Oh, all of this stuff about devotees acting as Ritvik, this is all nonsense. This is Maya. Everybody can just become a Diksha guru. Oh, really? This means that these people have not properly and thoroughly studied Prabhupada's statements on these issues. That's why they come up with these ridiculous nonsense conclusions. Prabhupada never wanted a Gaudiya Math Part 2 society of nonsense interpretation where everybody speculates and comes up with their own nonsense interpretation. This is exactly what we're confronting today. That's why devotees, when they start to carefully study and analyze, they're not just reading, but carefully study and analyze Prabhupada's statements and see everything is said on a topic, they cannot come to the same conclusion as the managerial class. This idea of self-appointed gurus is not Prabhupada's teachings. This is exactly what the post-1937 Gaudiya Math did. Prabhupada complained about this in a letter to Rupanuga Das on the 28th of April, 1974. Prabhupada said, we should not allow this in our ISKCON society. A year later, to Vishwakarma and Brahmananda sent a notice to the whole society. Don't associate with them. Don't read their books. Don't go to their temples because they disobeyed the instructions and the order of the Acharya. And the result is the mission was compromised. The momentum of the mission was compromised. The purity of the mission was compromised. Fast forward in post-1970, same thing. Same nonsense misinterpretation because of Maya. In some of his poetry in 1959, Srila Prabhupada complained with regards to the Gaudiya Math. The mission has been divided in many branches, and the tigress of personal ambition, of Pratishtha, has contributed to this. Thank you very much, to whom it may concern. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Well, it concerns everybody. This is a very important principle of understanding for anyone who is sincerely interested in pleasing Prabhupada, as Prabhupada explained in his short speech today, that if you want to make advancement in Krishna consciousness, you have to please the guru, the bona fide spiritual master. And the truths of Krishna consciousness, as Prabhupada explained in a recent lecture, are done by Shruti or Shruta, codes. Prabhupada said, in business, they use codes to minimize the expense of sending messages. Years ago, even when we were in the early days of the ISKCON group, we had to send messages by telegram. Quite different, eh? Prabhupada sent me a telegram when we bought the Toronto temple. He said, "Congratulations, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda." So it was a code. He used the example in the lecture, CIF. We're familiar with that nowadays because we just had books shipped from overseas. CIF, cost including freight, and it was expensive. So codes are used to express business relationships between parties. And also, Prabhupada was explaining, there are codes, the Shruta, the codes of truth, that if a person reads them, they're succinct. They can get an understanding of life. And it's important, everyone, and I'm going to recommend this to all of us, to read the second chapter of the Bhagavad-gītā, because it's related to the understanding of who we are in this world. As we read earlier, that Balaram explained very clearly in the Krishna book today. So we'll go to text 20, chapter 2. Najayate mriyate va kadachin, nayam bhutva bhavita va na bhuyaha, ajo nitya shashvato yam purano, nahanyate hanyamani sarire. Najayate mriyate va kadachin. So there it is. For the soul, there's never birth nor death, nor having once been, does he ever cease to be. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing, undying, and primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Qualitatively, the small atomic soul, part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, is one with the Supreme. He undergoes no changes like the body. Sometimes the soul is called the steady or kutashta. The body is subjected to 6 kinds of transformations. Oh yes. It takes birth in the womb of the mother's body, remains for some time, grows, produces some effects, gradually dwindles, and at last vanishes into oblivion. The soul, however, does not go through such changes. The soul is not born, but because he takes on a material body, the body takes its birth. The soul does not take birth there, and the soul does not die. Anyone who has such birth also has death, and because of the soul has no birth, he therefore has no past, present, or future. He is eternal, ever existing, and primeval. That is, there is no trace in history of his coming into being. So you can go to this chapter, Shruta, study it, study the different verses, especially if you get depressed. You're thinking, oh, what the heck? How did I end up here? It's such a difficult place here. But this medicine of sound from the transparent via media present in his Vani incarnation reveals the sick consciousness, the sick mind of the conditioned soul, which is our situation. And we go through these changes day to day, and we get the solution by constant hearing and coming to these classes. Now we're going to move forward with another section. Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, are we doing the missing links right now, or do you have a new section for us today? I wasn't sure if you would finish that part of our program.
Guru serialized version. I don't know if they have it. They're able to display it on the screen. I'll locate it here.
Yeah.
And then we can go from there. If you give me a moment, we'll take care of that. If somebody has it on the screen. This was compiled in 1983 originally, published in 1993 in Badger, California. We are dealing with chapter 1, called Some Background Questions. Who is His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda? And in brief, what has he given to the world? Answer. We can appreciate Srila Prabhupada and his gift to us by considering just one verse of thousands he has translated from the time-honored Vedic literature. Brahmanda Brahmati Kona Bhagyavanjiv Guru Krishna Prasada Pai Bhaktilata Beach. According to their karma, all living entities are wandering throughout the entire universe. Some of them are being elevated to the upper planetary systems, and some are going down into the lower planetary systems. Out of many millions of wandering living entities, one who is very fortunate gets an opportunity to associate with a bona fide spiritual master by the grace of Krishna. By the mercy of both Krishna and the spiritual master, such a person receives the seed of the creeper of devotional service. This is taken from Madhya Lila of Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 19, text 151. Srila Prabhupada has given the whole world the opportunity to associate with him and receive the seed of the creeper of the Lord's devotional service, which we can grow all the way back to the Lord's own transcendental abode. How has Srila Prabhupada enabled us to associate with him and Lord Krishna? He has established his International Society for Krishna Consciousness, also known as the Hare Krishna Movement, a worldwide federation of Vedic devotional communities and devotees. He has written and spoken volume upon volume of Vedic devotional translation and commentary, and he has initiated the world into the devotional chanting of the Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The process recommended by the Vedic literature for spiritual realization in this age. Srila Prabhupada has fulfilled the prediction mentioned in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that the holy name of Krishna and Lord Chaitanya would one day be chanted in every town and village around the world. Many scholars and great devotees agree that he was a Shakti Avatar, a specifically empowered personality who came to deliver the essence of Vedic knowledge all over the world. One prominent South Indian Acharya commented in 1976, after looking at one of Prabhupada's books and witnessing the preaching of some of his disciples, this person is the summum bonum of all the Acharyas. Back to you in the studio. We will continue this serialized reading tomorrow. Hare Krishna.
Excellent, excellent. More insight. It's very detailed. This study of the mission of Srila Prabhupada and all its facets is very important for people who want to get initiation. Now, we have a question from Bhakta Vaibhav, and I got to speak to him recently, and I believe he's 25 years old, and he's interested in initiation. Like Rupa Goswami Prabhu received the Diksha initiation through the PDA HKS system. We have a system. And part of the system is you are required to attend the classes, just like when we had the temple in Toronto, it was a requirement of the membership. If you wanted to get initiated, you had to come to the Srimad Bhagavatam class every day. Now, there were a lot more rules. For example, in that close environment, we were all expected to go on Sankirtan. And in the early days, we went on Sankirtan on Yonge Street for 7 or 8 hours a day. And I was looking at some photos. There's a very interesting library of photos that Shreya Devi-Dasi brought up on the screen when we were working on our intro, the new intro of the program. And it showed the devotees out in the snow with their boots, enduring the difficult climate conditions in Canada. I can remember, Yaśodā, we went on traveling Sankirtan up to Winnipeg. That's where we met Kamsahanta and Jittarati and a bunch of devotees, Nandi Keswar. Actually, it was a harvest of new people by this austerity back then. But we went out on the main street there, which they say is one of the coldest streets in Canada in the winter. And I recall that we didn't even have any extended underwear. We just had these polyester dhotis. We wore coats, but the dhoti would just blow up, and believe me, it was really cold. So there was austerity, yes, physical austerity for the devotees back in the day. No possessions, no money, no bank accounts. Just complete surrender to the service of the spiritual master under the guidance of the temple president. The Siksha gurus, Prabhupada put these people in charge of training up the new people to become devotees. That's how it worked. And in this way, we could qualify them. It's like, Nilesh, if you want to buy a BMW, what happens when you show up at in the showroom? Well, you meet a salesman. That's what happens. And you may walk in, you may not look like somebody that has any money, right? For example, you just look like some guy with a goatee and a mustache. You're like, who the hell's this guy? You don't look like a Wall Street type person. I'm not saying that you don't, but if you go into it, they might judge you by that. You got a t-shirt on and running shoes. So they ask questions. They qualify you. And in this way, they can understand your capacity to buy a $100,000 car. I know one day I had some people come in when I worked in that job years ago, and they bought 3 BMWs for me. It was a $250,000 sale that day. Oh, everybody was excited. Oh, yeah. It doesn't mean anything. It just comes and goes, just like Lakshmi comes and goes. But you had to qualify them. They don't automatically buy a BMW. You have to build rapport and relationship. It's a whole thing, but anyway. So in the same way, in our group, PDA and HKS, we qualify people as Siksha Guru. Just like myself and Yaśodā were put in that responsibility to qualify people by Prabhupada himself. And the letters that I've received from him, they're evidence of that role. And so we want people to attend the classes, listen carefully to the shared information from the group, not just from one or two, but everyone. Chant your rounds, follow the regulated principles, and learn the detailed information that we're supplying for everyone to how to practice Krishna consciousness in 2025, because time and circumstance have changed. Oh, yes, it has. And the use of technology is very dynamic and global. And like I said, we're so excited that Shreya Devi-Dasi is helping us with that. And we're going to produce those items, and you'll see them in the near future. Now, let's look at this question, Yaśodā, that I want you to answer. This is Bhakti Vaibhav. who is interested in initiation. Okay, good. And we're glad you're coming to the classes. And we're taking notice, by the way. We are. We look at the scroll, we see who it is, and we acknowledge their effort. Yes, and if they want initiation, if anybody, like we're very excited that Bhakti Amber will get her initiation. And she's a PhD candidate. She's an intelligent person. And she's come to this platform of realizing that real intelligence is spiritual understanding of how to follow the parampara system through a bona fide spiritual master who's still living and sound, not Diksha Guru is dead philosophy. Hey, Yaśodā, that's, the guy actually wrote it. You have to be careful what you write. Prabhupada used to tell us that. Be careful what you write. You can say anything, Nilesh. Oh, you can say this or that. And then if somebody questions you, you can deny it. Prabhupada told us that. You can deny anything that you speak. We see that in politics, in America especially. They say one thing, they deny it. It was not written down. But when you write something down, that is evidence of what you're thinking. So be careful what you write, not just what you speak. But he wrote this down. Hare Krishna Prabhu, Jai Srila Prabhupada, please accept my humble obeisances. Prabhuji, as per the verse Bhagavad-gītā 2:22, can you please explain if the government, as per now, who are not punishing the wrongdoers by killing them, do they also get karma by supporting their wrongdoers? Yaśodā, if you could answer that for us.
Well, yes, they do. Because the king is responsible for the welfare of the citizens. So therefore the king or the head of the state has to be very careful what they allow the citizens to do. If they allow all kinds of animal killing, slaughterhouses, prostitution, gambling, drinking, intoxication. Nowadays it's infanticide with abortion. All kinds of nonsense, perverse sexual nonsense going on. If they allow that, there is reaction. During the Vietnam War, some devotees asked Prabhupada, why is it that there are so many wars? Why? Prabhupada says that's because of animal killing. When there is animal killing allowed in human society, people will experience wars and pestilence and increased in calamities. This is the situation. But the basic principle is that the government is responsible. And if they don't curb down all of these vikarmic activities or bad karmic activities, they get reaction. Now, the reaction may not be immediate, because some people understand karma that you get an immediate reaction for something that you do, especially wrong activities, but it's not necessarily like that. Karma can also happen in the future, which has not fructified. So the government leaders who basically keep supporting these activities will incur very serious reactions, both individually and collectively. That's the general understanding. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Yeah, most definitely. And Bhakta Vaibhav is also a principle of karma to be collective karma. There is collective karma. So someone could say, well, why is this country suffering so many calamities? Well, in America, look at the calamities that they're experiencing. They had those wildfires in California that just destroyed entire rich neighborhoods there. It's gone away. It's something in the past. They had the floods in North Carolina, in the Carolinas. Look what happened there. It was terrible. Just see how everything was destroyed right in front of many people's lives. So there could be wars. Look what happened in Gaza. All these people being killed by other people. Completely insane. War, killing. And besides that, there's disease. And Neil Sharma probably knows more about killing from cancer. Ram Raghava knows that as a doctor. I kind of know it. I've read those books by different people about diet for New America, where they give all the quotes, how people die from cancer, from lung cancer, from stomach cancer, because of constant eating of meat, dead animals. This is collective karma. So collective karma, an individual, and by the way, Vaibhav, Bhakta Vaibhav, did you know the responsibility of the leader of the country? You know what the responsibility is? To create when you read the Krishna book, you read about how they created a wonderful atmosphere for all the inhabitants. Well, these leaders are responsible for doing that, like Trudeau and other leaders in the world. And when they don't, they get 1/6 of the karma for themselves. Vijaya Pandit, let me ask you, would you like to be the leader of America and carry 1/6 of the karma of all these people? All these 360 million meat eaters? How long do you think he'll be incarcerated in repeated birth and death? He's a big person now. It's inconceivable. It's hard to understand that. But if you read the Bhagavad-gītā, you read these scriptures carefully, given by Srila Prabhupada without any editing or change, you'll get a clear understanding of that. Let's see. He's got something. You want to share something. See if you can share that item for Nilesh. Probably some good section from the scriptures to support what we're talking about. Go ahead. Nilesh, if you could read it, if you don't mind. Put his voice on.
Oh, unmute. Okay,
Yeah,
can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead, please. Yeah.
All right, this is what exactly you were talking about and what Prabhuji was asking about, that what happens to the political leaders. In the next life, the king will be able to share 1/6 of the pious activities of the citizens. Otherwise, by levying taxes on the sinful citizens, he will have to share the reactions of their sinful activities. This is according to Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 20, Text 14.
Okay, read the highlight. Read the highlights. Go ahead.
Yes. So I'm going to repeat. I'm going to just read the paragraph of that particular part. An executive head should not be callous to the welfare of the general mass of people while he simply goes on collecting taxes. The king's real duty is to see that the citizens gradually become fully Krishna conscious. Krishna conscious means completely free from all sinful activities. As soon as there is complete eradication of sinful activities in the state, then there will be no more war, pestilence, famine, or natural disturbances. This was factually prevailing under the reign of Maharaja Yudhishthira. If a king or head of government is able to induce the citizens to become Krishna conscious, then he is worthy to rule over the mass of people. Otherwise, he has no right to levy taxes. If the king looks after spiritual interests of the citizens, he can levy taxes without difficulties. In this way, both the subjects and the king will be happy during this life. And in the next life, the king will be able to share 1/6 of the pious activities of the citizens. Otherwise, by levying taxes on the sinful citizens, he will have to share the reactions of their sinful activities.
Perfect. Very, very illuminating. And just a comment here about taxes, especially in Canada here. There's constant posting about taxation. And Prabhupada said eventually people will become so taxed. Just imagine, Nilesh, 30 years from now, how the taxes will be. Like here in Hamilton, last year they raised the property taxes by 7% last year. Like my taxes have gone from $2,500 when I first moved in here to $8,000 a year now, since I've been living at this house, $8,000. And this year, the plan is to increase the taxation 8%. So 7%, 8%, it's escalating because of mismanagement. And people are complaining, but they don't do anything. They can't. We're in a difficult situation in terms of democracy. But at the same time, they tax you on everything. Here in Canada, Nilesh, they have a 13% GST. 13%. So everything you buy, everybody in this country is charged 13% on the purchase price of the item to go to the federal government on everything you buy. So if you buy a car, it's the price of the car plus 13% on everything that you spend your money on. Taxation on taxation on taxation. And this is very simply the Kali Yuga. That's what it is. And this taxation will not stop. And Prabhupada said eventually people will want to move to the forest to avoid taxation. So imagine what is going to be happening in the future to all of us. This persecution of the citizens by unqualified leadership, a bunch of woke idiots. So this is something that's going on. Let's go forward, Nilesh, or, oh, there we go. Rupa Goswami. We've got the next section of the program. Is it the Kirtan or another section with Srila Prabhupada speaking? Go ahead. Rupa Goswami. What is it?
It is Prabhupada's lecture, bro.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. So let's go ahead with that. Thank you, everyone. Very interesting, very revealing. Prabhupada's truths.
Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Padakamalam. Krishna is appearing in so many incarnations. Just try to understand what is the position of Krishna. He is situated as Paramatma in everyone's heart. Ishara sarvabhutanam riddhese arjuna tisthati. And is giving direction to everyone. And there are unlimited, innumerable living entities. So, he has to give instruction in different ways to so many living entities. How much busy he is. Just try to imagine. Still, his position is the same. Golokoeva nivasati akilatma bhuta. Golokoeva nivasati. Krishna is still in his own original place, Goloka Vrindavan, and he is enjoying in the company of Srimati Radharani. That business is it is not the Mayavadi philosophy, because he has expanded himself in so many hearts of the living entities. That does not mean that he is finished in his own abode. No, still he is there. That is Krishna. Purnasya purnamadaya purnameva avasishyate. This is the Vedic information. Even here we have got material experience. If you have got 1 rupee, if you take 1 anna, then it is 15 annas. Or if you take 2 annas, it is 14 annas. If you take 16 annas, it becomes 0. But Krishna is not like that. He can expand himself. Unlimited forms. Still, the original Krishna is there. That is Krishna. We have got experience. 1 minus 1 equal to 0. But there in the spiritual world, that is called absolute. 1 minus millions times 1 minus is still the original 1 is 1. That is Krishna. Advaita Achyuta. Anadi, Ananta Rupam. So that Krishna, you cannot understand Vedeshu simply by studying Vedic literature. Although the Vedas means, Vedanta means to understand Krishna. Vedaishta sarvai ahameva ved. But unfortunately, because we do not take the shelter of Krishna or his devotee, we cannot understand what is the purpose of Vedas. That will be explained in the 7th chapter. Maya sakta mana pratha. Maya sakta mana pratha yogam janjana madasraya. Madasraya. Asangsang samagram ma jatha gasyasi tatsino. If you want to understand Krishna, asangsang, without any doubt, and samagram, and in full, then you have to practice this yoga system. What is that? Yoga. Manmana bhava mad bhakta madhyaji mang namaskar. Madasa. Yogam. Yogam madasaya. Madasaya, this word is very significant. Mat means either you take directly, that is not very easy thing. Shelter of me. Or one who has taken shelter of me, you take shelter of. Just like there is electric powerhouse and there is a plug. That plug is connected with the electric powerhouse, and if you push your wire in the plug, you also get electricity. Similarly, as it is stated in the beginning of this chapter, Evam parampara pratam mimang rajasayo vidu. If you take shelter of the parampara system, the same example, if you take the shelter of the plug which is connected with the powerhouse, you get immediately electricity. Similarly, if you take shelter of a person who is coming in the parampara system, there is a parampara system. Krishna, he instructed Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma instructed Narada. Narada instructed Vyasdev. Vyasdev instructed Madhyacharya. Madhyacharya instructed in so many ways. Then Madhavendra Puri. The Madhavendra Puri, Ishwar Puri. From Ishwar Puri, Lord Chaitanya. In this way there is a parampara system. There are 4 Vaishnava Sampradayas. The Rudra Sampradaya, Brahma Sampradaya, Kumar Sampradaya, and Lakshmi Sampradaya, 3 Sampradaya. So, Sampradaya Dhinadi Mantraste Vipalamata. If you do not receive instruction of Krishna from the Sampradaya, then Vipalamata, then whatever you have learned, it is useless. It is useless. That is the defect. So many people are studying Bhagavad-gītā, but they do not understand what is Krishna. Because they do not receive through the evam parampara praptam. The parampara, unless you go to the parampara, the same example, if you do not
take electricity from the plug, which is connected with the powerhouse, what is the use of your bulb and wire? It has no use. Therefore, how Krishna is expanding, it is Vedeshu Durlabha. If you simply have got academic knowledge, then it will not be possible. Vedeshu Durlabham Adurlabham Atma Bhakto. This is the statement of Brahma Samhita.
Hare Krishna. What a wonderful Vijaya Pandit. Did you enjoy that? That was so wonderful. And it's important to understand what Prabhupada was saying there. I'm going to highlight just one point. If you don't understand parampara, your knowledge is useless. And that's what's going on in the so-called mission of Srila Prabhupada that he originally founded. They don't understand parampara. And because of that, they have become sentimentalists, not transcendentalists. And someone could say, well, that's rather critical. No, it's factual. We're not fault finders. We just heard it when Prabhupada spoke that just now. If you don't understand parampara properly, your knowledge is useless. You're a sentimentalist or a sahaja, however you want to look at it. We've got another question here, Yaśodā. I thought before we go to the next section. It's an interesting question from our Prabhu from India. Hare Krishna, Prabhu, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Please accept my humble obeisances. Thank you. If we surrender to bona fide guru, devotee karma will be zero? Maybe you could explain that for him.
Yes, that is what Prabhupada taught. But we have to understand, how does the karma become zero? When you say devotee karma, this is karma from previous activities. Now, the karma is cleansed by the mercy of the spiritual master in various ways, because he gives the holy name in disciplic succession, and the holy name purifies the devotee. He engages the devotee in bhakti activities, that purifies the devotee. He gave the devotee divyam jnanam, or transcendental knowledge, that purifies the devotee, clears the devotee, because bhakti, karmani nirdahati cha bhakti bhajam, in the Brahma Samhita, there is a description of by engaging in bhakti activities under the direction of a pure devotee, of the bona fide acharya, all this bhakti becomes cleared up. So this is a very important point, because there's some kind of a misunderstanding with devotees. They say, oh, how can Prabhupada take on the karma since he's not here? He can purify your karma. It's not a physical activity. It's not like an electrical connection, like some kind of sentimentality that, for example, if Prabhupada is in Calcutta and a devotee is getting initiated in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, how does he take the karma? Is there a karma pigeon that goes from one continent to another? No. He gives the holy name in disciplic succession in an authorized system. He gives the divyam jnanam, that purifies the karma. He engages the devotee in the bhakti activities, that purifies the karma. So this is very important, how the karma is purified. Divyam jnanam yato dadyat kuryat papasya sankshayam. Papasya sankshayam means the cleansing of the karma. How? Divyam jnanam yato dadyat, by the giving of the transcendental knowledge. And this is what Prabhupada is doing every day all over the world with his bona fide books, assuming that they're not being changed and edited and adulterated. That's a very important point. So these are a few points to consider. Hare Krishna.
Well, thank you very much. And I wanted to see that we have a comment from Nilesh from Vani Quotes that this is in reference to the karmic question earlier. The citizens will abandon their attempts to lead a peaceful life and will leave their homes and hearths and go to the forest in sheer disappointments of their experience of democracy. The blind leading the blind. The citizens are blind and the leadership is completely lost in how to lead. And yet they're voted in by these people. It's a big mistake. We're going to move forward. We'll get the questions tomorrow. Thank you, Prabhu. We're already at 11:48. But we're going to go to the next section, Rupa Goswami, which is the chanting of Hare Krishna, led by Srila Prabhupada in this program. So, and then we'll have the Vanchakalpa prayers together as a group. We'll have the ending section, which we're renovating. And then after that, we're going to carry on with, if you want to stay on and enjoy the whole experience, we're going to have another lecture by Srila Prabhupada. This next lecture will be 15 minutes. And then we'll have japa class and whatever our hosts decide to put up on the screen while we carry on with this transcendental experience of association with Prabhupada disciples and Srila Prabhupada himself. All glories to the Sankirtan movement. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Nectar of Devotion, Chapter 8, Offenses to be Avoided. The offenses against the chanting of the holy name are as follows. First, to blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their lives for propagating the holy name of the Lord. Second, to consider the names of demigods like Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma to be equal to or independent of the name of Lord Vishnu. Sometimes the atheistic class of men take it that any demigod is as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu. But one who is a devotee knows that no demigod, however great he may be, is independently as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, if someone thinks that he can chant Kali, Kali or Durga, Durga, and it is the same as Hare Krishna, that is the greatest offense. Third, to disobey the orders of the spiritual master. Fourth, to blaspheme the Vedic literature or literature in pursuance of the Vedic version. Fifth, to consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be imagination. Sixth, to give some interpretation on the holy name of the Lord. Seventh, to commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name of the Lord. Because by chanting the holy name of the Lord, one can be freed from all kinds of sinful reactions. It should not be taken that one may continue to act sinfully and after that chant Hare Krishna to neutralize his sins. Such a dangerous mentality is very offensive and should be avoided. 8. To consider the chanting of Hare Krishna as one of the auspicious ritualistic activities which are offered in the Vedas as fruitive activities. Karma Kanda. 9th. To instruct a faithless person about the glories of the holy name. Anyone can take part in chanting the holy name of the Lord, but in the beginning one should not be instructed about the transcendental potency of the Lord. Those who are too sinful cannot appreciate the transcendental glories of the Lord, and therefore it is better not to instruct them in this matter. 10th. To not have complete faith in the chanting of the holy names, and to maintain material attachments, even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. Every devotee who claims to be a Vaishnava must guard against these offenses in order to quickly achieve the desired success.
Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna
Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha. Rupa Goswami, Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha. Let us offer our respectful obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnava devotees. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha, kripa sindubhya evacha, patitanam pavanibhyo, Vaishnavibhyo namo namaham. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who can fulfill the desires of everyone just like desire trees, and who are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Hare Krishna. Thanks everybody for participating in this lively program and discussion. Thanks Vishwakarma Prabhu in Ontario, Hamilton City, Canada, for hosting the program. Rupa Goswami Prabhu in Bombay, India, for helping with the production. Vijay Pandit in Italy in the park, very nice setting. And Bhaktivedanta in South India. Viprahita Prabhu, the father of Ram Raghava in Georgia. Bhaktivaibhav with your very nice questions. Shiv Narayana Prabhu in Japan. Bhaktin Ember Andy in Alaska. Michael Dillon in Yuba City, California. Bhakta Roy in Mississippi, and everybody else participating in this program. Please join us again tomorrow morning at 7:00 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for a class on Srimad Bhagavatam. And thanks everybody behind Vijay Pandit. Comeva. Tutte le glorie, sua divina grazia Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, Krishna
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
What is unique about Krishna consciousness that separates it from other religions? Is it a religion?
Religion means primarily to know God and love Him. That is religion. And nobody knows God and what to speak of loving. Nobody is trained up how to know God and how to love Him. They are satisfied by going to the church. Oh God, give us our daily bread. That also not everyone goes. The communist says that you don't go to the church, bread we shall supply. So poor innocent person, they get bread elsewhere, says they do not go to church. But nobody is serious to understand what is God and how to love Him. Nobody is serious. Therefore, in Bhagavatam it is said, it is cheating religion. I profess some religion, but I do not know what is God and how to love Him. So that type of religion is cheating religion. And religion means to know God and love Him. But generally, a man does not know what is God and what to speak of loving Him. So therefore that is cheating religion. That is not religion. But so far Christian religion is concerned, there is ample chance of understanding God, but they do not care for it. Take for example, the commandment is, thou shalt not kill. But in the Christian world, best slaughterhouses are maintained. So how they can become God conscious? They disobey the commandments, do not care what Lord Jesus Christ has ordered. But this is not only in Christian religion, every religion is going on. It's simply rubber stamp. I am Hindu, I am Muslim, I am Christian. And none of them do know what is God and how to love Him.
How does one know a bona fide spiritual master then that can lead
Who
them?
teaches these things? How to know God and how to love Him? He is spiritual. Otherwise bogus, rascal bogus. Sometimes they mislead that I am God. Poor people, they do not know what is God. And a rascal proposes, I am God. And they accept it. Just like in your country, they elected Nixon president and again drag him. That means they did not know who is really bona fide president. He elected somebody. And again they had the business of dragging him. Similarly, people are foolish. Any rascal comes, he says, I am God. They accept. And again they accept another. This is going on. So one must be serious student to understand what is God and how to love Him. That is religion. Otherwise it is simply waste of time. That we are teaching. That is the difference between others and ours. We are presenting Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the science, how to know Him, the Bhagavad-gītā is there, Bhagavad is there. Not bogus, authorized. Therefore, this is the only institution which can teach how to know God and how to love Him. Two business, there is no third business. It is not our business to ask God to give us our necessities. We know God gives necessities to everyone. Even one who has no religion. They cats and dogs, they have no religion. They do not know what is religion. But still, the cats and dogs are supplied with necessities of life. So why should we bother Krishna asking him give us our daily bread? He supplied already. Our business is how to love him. That is religion. Dharma prochita koitava atra parama nirmasaranang sata basro basu vedavatra. Savai pungsang paro dharma jato bhakti radhokam. That is first class religion which teaches how to love God. And that love not for any material motive. God, He will give me this, then I will love. No. Ahituki. The love means without any personal profit. If I love God for some profit, that is business, that is not love. Ahituki. Apratihata. And such love of God cannot be checked by any material cause. In any condition, one can learn how to love God. It is not conditional that I am poor man, how shall I love God? I have got so many things to do. No, it is not that. Poor, rich, or young, or old, black or white, there is no impediment. If one wants to love God, he can love.
Yes.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Bala Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Bala Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Hare